Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Daily Dizzle for Wednesday, February 2nd, 2011. It is Groundhog Day, and guess what? We're getting an early spring, despite the fact that I might not feel like it with the fact that there's a huge storm. Hopefully, for the most part, though, it's starting to die off, but it was kind of crazy at first, at least, and today was kind of a shutdown day in at least this area. But, yeah, we're getting an early spring, so it's going to be a good deal in the end, hopefully, though that shit's bullshit anyways. It's always the opposite. I mean, when it's nice right about now, then it's like, oh, winter again for longer. Even though it's nice, winter. Right now, it's gonna be nice soon. No, it's not. Anyways, we got a lot to cover, so let's jump right in. New movies that are gonna be coming out in the next little while. There's some release dates that have been at least changed around for two animated kids ones. So let's jump right into it. Kung Fu Panda 2, they moved it up by a day. They're just trying to capitalize on a longer opening and weekend. Sometimes, if you open it even during the week, if it's even a kids movie, like Shrek 2, it ended up opening earlier than the weekend. Ended up jumping up pretty high and ended up having 100+ million weekend back at the time when there had not been that many movies doing it. So it might pay off in the long run, so we'll see if that works out. Meanwhile, the Weinstein Company finally releasing Hoodwinked 2, Hood vs. Evil. That's a sequel to Hoodwinked, which probably no one really remembers. The big deal with that was when it was very competitive when it came out with Glory Road, which is another movie you probably don't remember unless you've seen it on like TNT. But it is finally set for April 29th, 2011. So we'll see if that one's able to get any good numbers, though usually dumping it in the April time slot right before the box office picks up with the first full weekend of May. It might not pay off in the long run, especially if it opens small and then gets crushed when no one remembers it when the big spectacles come out. Now to check in with the DVD releases for this week in case you're looking for something good to watch. Not too many good things, really. Well, at least big movies from the box office side of things coming out. The biggest release coming out on DVD made just $12 million. That's Let Me In, which got mixed reviews. It was a remake. So there's a foreign version of it, but most people are like, I don't understand. I gotta read a subtitle. No, I can't do that. So that's why they decided to remake it. Only cool thing about it was the girl from Kick-Ass was in it, so at least it had a little bit of credibility. Other movies that came out, Hatchet 2, which didn't really do any business in theaters for the most part because of the fact that most of the theaters that were showing it ended up yanking it. I mean, it was unrated and they knew about it, but they didn't really care, but then it was a huge deal when they pulled it, probably because it really didn't have that many good returns in the long run. They also have Conviction, which had Hilary Swank. And she's okay. She always does these like tries to be kind of bigger, but ends up being real small movies like that and Amelia, where she was Amelia Earhart. The only real cool thing about that, though, is Sam Rockwell was at least in it, so maybe it's worth checking out. That really leads for the other DVD releases. Leads to a very, very competitive week for the Surefire Instant Classics that are Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2 and Mean Girls 2. Yeah. Meanwhile, we gave you the list of possible Lois Lanes in the upcoming Superman feature. Apparently, you can add Olivia Wilde to the list. I say just go with her. Is there really a list at this point now? In other follow-up news, we talked about Javier Bardem possibly being in the next Bond movie. With news of that coming out, he has discussed it. He says he hasn't said yes because he wants to read a script, but he has met with director Sam Mendes, who's the dude who did American Beauty, which won an Oscar a couple years ago. I don't give a shit how many people debate if it deserved the Oscar, if it was the best movie at the time, whatever. It won the Oscar. So it's going to be an awesome Bond movie. He has met with him about it, and it's really hard to turn down the role. His exact quotes: "They're changing the whole thing, the whole dynamic. I'd be playing Bond's nemesis yet, but it's not that obvious. Everything is more nuanced. It's very intriguing," he says. So you really don't talk about that movie you're not involved in like that when you've discussed being in it. So, because if you pass on it, it was really good, but I didn't do it. Ooh. So we'll have to see how that one still ends up playing out. anyone who's a fan of Zach Galifianakis, after his recent awesome success with The Hangover and Due Date, is going to like this next bit of news. Apparently he's in negotiations to join Ryan Reynolds in the supernatural buddy action comedy R.I.P.D. Reynolds is going to play a young cop murdered in the line of duty, and he's going to enlist in the Rest in Peace Department. That's what the title stands for, which is a police force of ghosts, and they get a chance to catch their killers. Apparently, it follows a regular day in the life of him and his partner, who will be played by Zach Galifianakis, who is a gunslinger who himself has been dead since the 1800s. That is going to be the shit. No other way to say it. I mean, it might be like a modern day Ghostbusters where it blends, kind of action-oriented shit, but with, outside the ordinary elements. So I don't think Zach Galifianakis can do anything wrong at this point. So I am totally down for that. We've got 3 bits of comic book news in relation to their movie counterparts. Hugh Jackman, who weighed 190 pounds when they did X-Men Origins Wolverine, is apparently bulking up a lot more from there. He's at 210 pounds right now. Apparently director Darren Aronofsky has said, you kind of look like Clint Eastwood in some shots in X-Men Wolverine. Wolverine doesn't look like that. He's supposed to be... So, that's going to be awesome. Meanwhile, on to news about Captain America, the First Avenger. With Marvel and, all their movies tying in together for a big picture scenario, Dominic Cooper, who's going to be playing Tony Stark's father, Howard Stark, in Captain America, he's talked about some of the things we're going to be seeing in the new one. Apparently, you're going to see how he plays his part in making Steve Rogers Captain America. Not only that, though, how he ultimately launches Stark Industries. So that's going to be kind of cool to see, the birthplace of where Tony Stark in the Iron Man movies kind of reside today. Meanwhile, saving the big news for last, The Dark Knight Rises. It's got another big-time actor joining it who's previously worked with Christopher Nolan. Joseph Gordon-Levitt had been previously rumored to be circling one of the roles. Now he is officially confirmed. He's going to be finishing up one of his other movies and then jumping over to that. So that's why it was only rumored before, probably, because he was just working out the details if he'd finished up. It's going to be awesome now. I mean, adding another guy from Inception who was a big-time player in that, as a big-time player in this ensemble. I don't think it's going to be a bad movie, especially when cinematographer Wally Pfister, who works with Christopher Nolan on all his movies, has come out and he asked Christopher Nolan how could he possibly top himself, and he read the script and apparently he is topping himself with this one. So maybe it might be able to ride the good wave of momentum from all the positive reviews of The Dark Knight Rises and Heath Ledger's performance, instead of pissing people off being like, why did they do another movie? Because everyone kind of knew that there was ultimately a bigger picture, so maybe they might be forgiven and it will actually lead to even bigger box office returns. So, yay for Batman. You can expect that movie to be awesome and more people to be confirmed in being in it in the next coming weeks before they gear up for production. That's not the biggest news of the day, though, at least if you're me. Beavis and Butthead coming back. Unfortunately, that news was presented by Justin Bieber, who was all like, he's all playing hoops, and then MTV up front, Beavis and Butthead, yay! Fuck Bieber. But that's awesome that Beavis and Butthead is coming back. I loved him as a kid. I have the DVD collection, so I'm a happy guy. I get to see more stuff. That's all the news we've got for you today on the Daily Dizzle. We do thank you guys for joining us here as always. If this is your first time catching us, you can check us out Monday through Friday with a weekend update as well, posted by Sunday. You can also go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dizzlemits, or just click the username and catch all the stuff that you might have missed, in addition to some other original video packages as well earlier on. You can catch those in the archives, and you can catch every Daily Dizzle, or just the ones that look appealing to you. So go ahead and check those out, and hopefully you'll be back for more tomorrow. So for the Daily Dizzle, I'm Tommy Dizzlemits. We'll see you Thursday.